You were not born by mistake. Your arrival on this earth was not the result of coincidence or random chance. Everything about your existence was carefully planned and intentionally designed. There is purpose woven into the very essence of your being. The air that fills your lungs, the thoughts that form in your mind, the heartbeat that sustains you, all of it serves a divine reason. You were born at the right time, in their right generation, and in the right place for something that only you could fulfill. The greatest tragedy in life is not death, but a life lived without knowing why it was given. Too many people drift through existence, surviving from day to day, unaware that there is something greater within them that the world is waiting to experience. The truth is, every human being carries within them a seed of purpose, a divine idea that was conceived long before their birth. Before the foundations of the world were laid, your purpose was already decided. Your life is not an experiment, it is an assignment. There was a problem on earth that required your presence, a need that demanded your uniqueness, and a generation that would only be complete when your contribution appeared. When you understand that you were born intentionally, you begin to see life differently. You stop measuring your value by the standards of others. You stop comparing your pace with someone else's journey. You begin to walk with confidence, knowing that your existence is not a product of luck, but of destiny. Every child that is born carries within them an invisible map, the blueprint of their purpose. But many people never open that map. They let the noise of the world drown out the voice within. They allow circumstances, fear, and opinions to bury the treasure of who they truly are. That is why so many live unfulfilled. They confuse activity with purpose, movement with meaning, and achievement with destiny. But life is not about how busy you are or how much you acquire. It is about discovering why you were sent here in the first place. Until you understand that, even your successes will feel empty. The truth is, you are not valuable because of what you own, where you come from, or what others think about you. You are valuable because of what was placed inside you. You carry a divine intention that no one else can replicate. You may look like others, sound like others, or walk the same paths as others, but what resides within you is one of a kind. Your fingerprint is proof that you are irreplaceable. There has never been and will never be another version of you. That is not random. It is evidence of design. The world needed your specific expression of creativity, wisdom, compassion, and strength. That is why you were born. When you understand that you were created intentionally, you begin to live with purpose. You wake up every morning with a sense of direction. You stop asking, what should I do? And start asking, why am I here? That question is the key to unlocking the power within you. Once you grasp that your birth was purposeful, you stop seeking meaning in temporary things. You no longer chase success for validation because you already know you were validated the moment you were conceived. The circumstances of your birth, no matter how humble, do not determine your worth. Some of the greatest destinies were born out of the most unlikely situations. What matters is not where you started, but what you were sent to start. Even pain plays a part in your purpose. The struggles you faced, the disappointments you've endured, the challenges that tried to break you, they were all shaping you for something greater. Diamonds are formed under pressure. Gold is purified by fire. Purpose is revealed through struggle. Every moment of your journey has been preparing you for the reason you exist. The things you thought disqualified you were actually qualifying you. The experiences you wished away were the very ones molding the character necessary to carry your assignment. You were never being punished. You were being prepared. The people who matter most in life are those who understand that they matter. They realize that their existence is not random, and they take responsibility for it. They stop living small, stop doubting themselves, and stop wasting their potential. They refuse to live as spectators when they were born to participate in creation. You must come to that same realization that your life is too significant to be lived carelessly. The moment you believe that you were born intentionally, something awakens within you. Fear loses its grip, confusion fades, and confidence rises. You stop seeking approval from the world and start operating from the approval you already have from your Creator. You were not placed on this planet to merely survive. You were designed to contribute, to lead, to innovate, to inspire. The world is incomplete without your input. Every invention, every song, every movement, every transformation in history began with someone who realized that their life had meaning. They stopped waiting for permission to exist and started fulfilling their purpose. The same power lies within you. You are carrying a solution, a vision, an idea, a message, or a gift that is meant to change lives. Until you release it, the world will remain missing something only you could provide. The tragedy is that most people go to their graves with their potential still inside them. Cemeteries are the richest places on earth, filled with books never written, songs never sung, inventions never built, dreams never pursued. Do not become one of them. Do not let fear silence the purpose that was placed within you. You owe it to the world, and you owe it to yourself to discover why you exist and to live it fully. Your birth was an announcement that the world needed what you carry. You may feel small, overlooked, or insignificant, but that does not change the truth. The fact that you are alive means your assignment is still waiting to be fulfilled. Every breath you take is a reminder that your purpose is still active. The moment you begin to embrace that truth, you start living from intention. You stop drifting through life and start directing it. You stop existing by default and begin existing by design. Your past mistakes do not erase your purpose, and your current challenges do not disqualify you from destiny. You were born with intention, and that intention remains unshaken. The same hands that formed the stars formed you with purpose, and until you discover that purpose, nothing else will satisfy you. You were not born to imitate. You were born to initiate. You were not born to blend in. You were born to stand out. You were not born by accident. You were born with divine intention that calls you to rise, to lead, and to live with meaning. Every human being is born with something already deposited inside them. From the moment of your creation, your life carried an assignment that is locked deep within your spirit. You do not come into this world empty. You arrive full of potential, full of gifts, full of answers that the world around you needs. Yet, most people spend their entire lives searching externally for what was already placed internally. They look to other people to define their value, to tell them who they are, and to give them meaning. They believe that identity comes from approval, that purpose comes from position, and that fulfillment comes from applause. But the truth is, no one can give you what is already yours. Purpose is not something that must be found outside. It must be discovered within. There is a difference between discovery and invention. To invent means to create something that did not exist before. But to discover means to uncover something that was already there. Your purpose was never missing. It was simply hidden, waiting for your awareness to catch up with your existence. The world cannot define you because it did not design you. Every attempt to find meaning through others will always end in disappointment. When you allow people to label you, you give them permission to limit you. The world will always try to fit you into its molds, to make you conform, to make you follow trends, to make you chase recognition. But purpose does not come from imitation. It comes from revelation. You must look inward to find what was planted there before anyone else had an opinion about you. Many people spend years chasing external validation because they fear silence. They fear being alone long enough to hear their own voice. They fear looking inward because it requires truth. It's easier to live according to what others expect than to confront the question of why you were made. But you cannot discover your purpose while living in the noise of others' opinions. True clarity is born in solitude. Purpose begins to speak when the world becomes quiet. It does not shout, it whispers. It whispers through your passions, your instincts, your frustrations, and your gifts. What you are drawn to naturally often reveals what you were made to do. What breaks your heart often points toward what you were created to fix. What you do effortlessly is a sign of what you were called to master. The most tragic mistake is believing that purpose is something that must be earned. You cannot earn what you were born with. You can only recognize and develop it. Purpose is not a reward for effort. It is the reason for your existence. It does not depend on your past, your mistakes, or your qualifications. It is the essence of who you are. People can affirm it, but they cannot create it. You were born complete in your design. You only need to understand what was placed within you. That is why true fulfillment does not come from trying to be like others. Comparison blinds you to your uniqueness. Every time you compare your journey with someone else's, you insult your own design. You cannot walk in your calling while envying another's. The same Creator who gave them their path gave you yours. The only reason many never experience peace is because they are living someone else's version of life instead of their own. Your purpose is not hidden from you. It is hidden within you. The reason it feels distant is because you have been trained to look outward instead of inward. The education system teaches you what to think, not how to discover who you are. Society teaches you how to earn a living, not how to live with meaning. You are told to pursue careers, titles, and possessions, but rarely are you told to pursue your essence. As a result, millions achieve everything except themselves. They climb ladders of success only to realize they were leaning against the wrong wall. The emptiness that follows is not failure. It is the signal that you are succeeding at something you were never meant to do. Purpose cannot be taught. It must be revealed. And revelation only comes through reflection. You must ask yourself questions no one else can answer. Who am I? What comes naturally to me? What problems am I drawn to solve? What would I do if no one paid me for it? The answers to these questions are clues leading you back to your purpose. You don't find purpose by chasing opportunities. You find it by understanding yourself. You must look beyond the surface of your identity, beyond your name, your background, and your achievements, and recognize the eternal part of you that was designed for something specific. Once you identify that, life gains direction. You stop wandering through uncertainty and start walking with conviction. The danger of allowing others to define your purpose is that their definition will always be too small. People will see you based on their perspective, not your potential. They will assign labels that reflect their limitations, not your destiny. Some will tell you that you are too young, too old, too late, too unqualified. But what they do not realize is that purpose is not limited by time, age, or circumstance. You can be in a dark place and still carry light within you. You can be surrounded by doubt and still be destined for greatness. Purpose doesn't depend on where you are. It depends on what's inside you. Sometimes life will isolate you not to punish you, but to help you rediscover yourself. You may lose friends, opportunities, or even comfort, but all of it serves a higher function, to push you inward. When you begin to depend less on external affirmation, you start hearing the quiet truth that has been waiting all along. You were created with something the world needs. You begin to realize that your journey, with all its twists and turns, is not random but intentional. Every experience, every setback, every victory is guiding you back to who you are. When you stop seeking others to tell you your worth, your confidence becomes unshakable. You no longer need applause to feel valuable, because you already know your value comes from your existence. You were born with a specific assignment that cannot be replaced or replicated. No title, no career, no person can complete you. Only purpose can. That is why wealth without purpose feels like poverty. Fame without purpose feels like emptiness, and success without purpose feels like failure. The fulfillment you seek will only come when you begin to live from the inside out. Everything you need to become who you were meant to be is already within you. The ideas, the dreams, the strength, the creativity, the compassion, they are all seeds waiting for cultivation. Stop waiting for someone else to see your potential before you act. Stop waiting for conditions to be perfect. Stop waiting for permission. You were born authorized. You don't need a title to make an impact. You only need awareness. When you awaken to what is inside you, the opinions of others lose their power. You begin to lead your life from conviction, not from confusion. You begin to act with confidence, not from comparison. You begin to live as the original you were designed to be, not a copy of someone else's idea of success. Purpose is not something you find on a map. It is something you awaken to within your soul. You cannot search for it in the world, because it was placed in you before the world ever knew your name. When you realize that truth, you no longer chase meaning, you embody it. You begin to live from your center, guided not by approval or fear, but by the quiet certainty that everything you need to fulfill your destiny is already within you. Every human being enters the world with a distinct set of gifts, abilities, passions, and talents that are not random but intentional. They are the fingerprints of your purpose, the evidence of your assignment. You were born carrying something that the world desperately needs. Your gifts are the visible signs of your invisible potential. They point you toward the work you were created to do. No one arrives empty-handed. Everyone comes with something that is meant to contribute to humanity. The problem is not the absence of gifts, but the lack of awareness. Many people live and die without ever discovering what was placed within them because they underestimate what comes naturally to them. They believe greatness must be complicated, yet true greatness is often hidden in what feels effortless. What flows easily from you is often the clue to why you exist. Your gifts are not random talents that you happen to possess. They are divine indicators of your destiny. They are the tools designed to fulfill your purpose. When you identify them and use them wisely, they become the bridge between who you are and who you were meant to be. You do not choose your gifts. They were chosen for you. They were placed inside you long before you took your first breath. They were crafted to align perfectly with your mission in life. That is why you feel alive when you operate in them. There is an energy that flows through you when you are functioning according to your design. It is not forced, not artificial, and not dependent on external reward. It feels natural because it is natural. It is the essence of who you are. So many people waste years chasing success in areas that were never meant for them. They try to be everything the world tells them to be while ignoring what was already within them. They work tirelessly to fit into roles that stifle their creativity and silence their authenticity. But you cannot be fulfilled doing something you were not designed to do. True satisfaction comes when you align your life with your natural gifts. When you discover your gift, you discover your lane. And when you stay in your lane, there is no competition. You stop comparing yourself to others because you realize no one else can do what you do in the way you do it. Your uniqueness becomes your strength. The key to fulfillment is not doing more, but doing what you were made for. Your gift is your assignment in disguise. It's the answer you were created to bring to the problems of the world. Every community, every generation, every environment has needs, and every person is born as a potential solution to one of those needs. You were designed to solve a specific problem. When you identify the problem that your gift naturally addresses, you begin to walk in purpose. That is when life starts to make sense. Everything that once felt random begins to align. Every experience, every challenge, every opportunity becomes a piece of the puzzle pointing you toward your destiny. Even your struggles serve a role. They refine your gift, strengthen your character, and shape your vision. Your gifts are not meant to serve you alone. They are meant to serve others. The value of a gift is in its usefulness. What you carry inside you was not given for selfish gain, but for contribution. Your gift is your way of giving back to the world. The reason you are frustrated in certain environments is because your gift is underutilized. You were not created to hide your talent or bury your abilities out of fear or doubt. Every time you suppress your gift, you rob the world of your contribution. You deprive others of the benefit that was meant to flow through you When you release your gift, you not only fulfill your purpose, you also inspire others to discover theirs. It's important to understand that your gift does not always reveal itself fully formed. It begins as potential, raw, unrefined, and sometimes unrecognized. It requires cultivation, discipline, and development. Just because something comes naturally does not mean it comes easily. Your gift must be sharpened through use. The more you apply it, the stronger it becomes. Neglect weakens it, practice perfects it. The greatest tragedy is not to be born without a gift, but to die without developing it. Your potential demands attention, patience, and work. Growth is not optional. It is the responsibility of everyone who understands they were born with something valuable. You must also learn to protect your gift. Not everyone will understand it. Some will misunderstand your passion, criticize your path, or question your value. But your gift does not need approval to be powerful. The world may overlook you, but purpose does not. You were equipped for something that cannot be ignored forever. Your gift will make room for you if you stay faithful to it. Doors that once seemed closed will open when your preparation meets opportunity. You will not have to chase recognition. Excellence will attract it. Your gift will speak for you even when others doubt you. That is why it's vital to remain focused on development rather than validation. Often, the clues to your assignment lie in what captures your heart, what inspires you, what angers you, what moves you. These emotions are connected to your calling. If something consistently burdens you, it is likely tied to your purpose. Your gift was given to confront that burden. For some, it is the ability to teach and bring clarity. For others, it is to create beauty that stirs emotion. For others still, it is to build systems that bring order or justice. Every gift, no matter how ordinary it seems, serves a divine purpose when directed properly. There is no hierarchy of importance in purpose. The singer, the builder, the healer, the thinker, the nurturer, the dreamer, all play essential roles in the harmony of life. You must learn to trust your gift. Many people hesitate because they doubt their ability or fear failure. But purpose is not about perfection. It is about progress. Every great destiny began with uncertainty. What matters is that you start. Your gift will grow as you use it. You cannot improve what you refuse to express. Waiting for confidence before acting is a trap. Confidence is born through action. The more you operate in your gift, the more natural it becomes. Each step reveals another layer of your assignment. There are seasons when your gift will be tested. You may feel unseen, unappreciated, or overlooked. Those are not signs of defeat. They are seasons of refinement. Hidden seasons are necessary to strengthen the foundation before elevation. Use those moments to perfect your craft, to develop character, to deepen your understanding of why you do what you do. When your time comes, you will be ready, not just with talent, but with wisdom. Purpose without preparation cannot sustain success. Your gifts are sacred because they connect heaven's intention to earth's need. They are not merely for profit or pleasure, but for impact. When you operate in your gift, you fulfill your assignment and bring meaning to your existence. Every day becomes purposeful because you are contributing something authentic. You no longer live in confusion, wondering if you matter. You begin to understand that you were chosen to carry something only you could bring. The fulfillment you seek is not in chasing what others have, but in embracing what has already been placed within you. Your gifts are the evidence that your life has a mission, that you were created on purpose for a purpose, and that everything you need to fulfill, it has already been given to you. The highest expression of purpose is not found in what you receive, but in what you give. Every human being was designed to contribute something to the lives of others. The fulfillment you are searching for is not hidden in achievement, status, or recognition. It is found in service. You were not created merely to exist, accumulate, and consume. You were designed to make an impact. Service is the bridge between purpose and fulfillment. It transforms existence into significance. When your life begins to positively affect others, you start to understand the reason you were born. The desire to matter, to make a difference, is built into the human spirit. That longing cannot be satisfied by selfish ambition because it was never meant to be. You were designed to give yourself. Your time, your wisdom, your creativity, your compassion, these are meant to be shared. The world is interconnected by the principle of contribution. Everything that exists was made to serve something beyond itself. The sun gives light, the clouds give rain, the trees give oxygen, and even the soil gives nutrients. Nothing in creation exists only for its own benefit. Likewise, your life was designed to be a channel of service. When you serve, you align yourself with the natural rhythm of existence. You begin to live as you were meant to live, outwardly, generously, and purposefully. The measure of a meaningful life is not in how much you have acquired, but in how many lives you have touched. People may remember your name for a season, but they will remember your contribution for a lifetime. What you do for yourself dies with you, but what you do for others lives beyond you. That is the essence of legacy. It is not the wealth you leave behind, but the impact you create while you are here. Every great life story, every lasting influence, every timeless name in history shares one common trait: the commitment to serve others. Service gives your life context. It turns ordinary actions into eternal echoes. Many people spend years chasing happiness, unaware that happiness is the natural result of helping others. Fulfillment is not found in possessions, it is found in purpose. You may acquire everything the world has to offer and still feel empty, because the human heart was never designed to be filled by material things. True joy begins when you use your gifts to lift others, to heal, to guide, to inspire, to teach, or to build. When your life becomes a source of value to others, you begin to experience a sense of peace that no achievement alone can provide. That peace comes from alignment, from knowing that you are doing what you were designed to do. Service is not limited to grand gestures or global platforms. It begins in small, quiet moments of compassion and responsibility. You serve when you listen to someone who feels unheard. You serve when you forgive instead of retaliating. You serve when you mentor, when you comfort, when you sacrifice convenience for the sake of another. Every act of kindness, no matter how small, has the power to transform. The seed of service you plant today may become the tree of hope for someone else tomorrow. You do not need fame to make an impact. You simply need a willing heart. The world does not need more impressive people. It needs more compassionate ones. Serving others also refines your character. It strips away ego and self-centeredness, teaching you humility and gratitude. When you focus on giving instead of receiving, you begin to see life through a different lens. You realize that greatness is not about how high you rise, but how many you lift. Service reveals maturity. It takes strength to give without expectation, to help without applause, to love without condition. But that strength is what makes life meaningful. The more you give, the more you grow. The more you invest in others, the more you expand your capacity to influence. One of the most powerful truths about service is that it multiplies. When you serve, you create a ripple effect that extends beyond your immediate action. A word of encouragement can change a person's perspective. A single act of generosity can inspire a chain of kindness. A moment of empathy can restore hope to a broken spirit. Service is contagious because it awakens the best part of humanity. It reminds people of their own potential to make a difference. When you serve, you become a mirror that reflects what the world could be. Compassionate, unified, and purposeful. Service also connects you to something larger than yourself. It gives meaning to your struggles and transforms pain into purpose. The challenges you've overcome, the lessons you've learned, and the experiences you've endured were not only for your growth, they were meant to equip you to help others. What once wounded you can now become a source of healing for someone else. The comfort you longed for in your darkest moments can now flow through you to comfort another. Nothing in your life is wasted when it is used in service. Even your scars can shine as symbols of hope. The beauty of service is that it aligns with the deepest laws of fulfillment. When you give, you receive. When you lift others, you rise. When you pour into others, your own life overflows. The world tries to convince you that fulfillment comes from taking more, owning more, becoming more. But real fulfillment is the opposite. It comes from giving more, sharing more, and becoming less self-centered. Service frees you from the prison of selfishness. It transforms your existence from survival into significance. You move from asking, "What can I get?" to asking, "What can I give?" And that shift changes everything. Even leadership finds its highest form in service. True leaders do not use people to advance their goals. They use their positions to advance others. They understand that power is not for dominance, but for development. The greatest leaders are those who empower, who mentor, who elevate others to reach their full potential. They lead with empathy, not ego. Leadership without service is tyranny, but leadership rooted in service becomes transformation. When you serve, you lead by example, and when you lead through service, you leave a legacy that lasts long after your presence. Serving others does not make you less. It makes you whole. It does not weaken you. It strengthens your soul. It gives your talents purpose, your struggles value, and your time direction. When you live a life of service, you stop chasing meaning. You create it. You begin to understand that every moment, every gift, every opportunity is an invitation to contribute. The purpose of life is not just to be successful, but to be useful. Every person you help, every life you touch, every heart you uplift becomes a part of your story. In giving yourself to others, you discover the deepest truth about existence. That you were never meant to live for yourself alone, but to be a vessel through which the world experiences goodness love, and purpose. There is a kind of peace that cannot be bought, a calm that cannot be explained, and a confidence that cannot be imitated. It is the peace that comes when you finally begin to live in alignment with your purpose. When your life, your decisions, and your direction all begin to flow from the reason you were created, everything within you starts to settle. You stop fighting with yourself. You stop chasing things that don't belong to you. You stop striving to prove your worth to a world that never designed you in the first place. Living your purpose is not about perfection. It is about alignment. When you live in alignment, the noise quiets and your energy becomes focused. You begin to move with clarity, not confusion. You begin to walk with strength, not fear. Most people live in conflict because they are disconnected from their purpose. They try to fill the void of meaning with achievement, possessions, and approval, but none of it brings peace. You can have success and still feel restless. You can have recognition and still feel unseen. You can have everything the world praises and still lie awake wondering why you are here. The reason for that emptiness is misalignment. When your life moves in a direction opposite to your design, tension becomes inevitable. You were created to function according to purpose. And until you do, life will always feel incomplete. Peace is the natural result of being where you were meant to be and doing what you were meant to do. When you begin to live your purpose, you stop being a victim of life and start becoming a steward of it. You stop reacting to circumstances and start responding with intention. Challenges no longer shake you because you understand that even obstacles serve your growth. You begin to see difficulties not as punishment, but as preparation. Every challenge becomes a classroom teaching you how to master your assignment. Living in purpose gives you perspective. You no longer waste energy worrying about what others think because your direction comes from conviction, not comparison. You no longer envy the success of others because you realize that every purpose has its own pace. Your focus shifts from competing to completing your calling. That shift alone brings a freedom that success without purpose could never provide. Power comes from clarity. When you know who you are and why you are here, indecision disappears. You move through life with authority because your actions have meaning. Purpose gives you a sense of divine confidence, not arrogance, but assurance. It makes you bold, not because you believe you can do everything, but because you are certain about what you were created to do. This kind of confidence cannot be shaken by failure or rejection because it is not rooted in outcomes. It is rooted in identity. When you know your purpose, failure becomes feedback, not finality. Every setback becomes a lesson. Every closed door becomes redirection. You no longer lose yourself when life doesn't go as planned because you understand that purpose is not dependent on circumstances. It is the compass that keeps you centered through every storm. Living your purpose also brings balance. It organizes your priorities. You no longer chase everything. You focus on what matters. Purpose acts like an internal filter, allowing you to say yes to what aligns with your mission and no to what distracts from it. This sense of focus eliminates unnecessary stress. You stop stretching yourself thin to meet the expectations of others. You start building your life around what fulfills you, not what impresses them. The result is inner peace. You move from business to productivity, from exhaustion to effectiveness, from aimless activity to intentional action. When you are living in purpose, even your rest feels productive because it is part of your rhythm, not an escape from chaos. Another form of power that purpose brings is resilience. When you know why you are doing something, you can endure almost anything. Purpose gives pain a reason. It turns suffering into strength. It transforms trials into training. Without purpose, pain feels meaningless. With purpose, pain becomes a teacher. You begin to understand that the seasons of difficulty are shaping your character to sustain the weight of your destiny. The peace that comes from purpose is not the absence of trouble, but the presence of understanding. You realize that everything you face is working together to refine you for your greater work. This awareness removes fear and replaces it with faith. You stop asking, "Why me?" and start declaring, "Use me." Living your purpose also redefines your relationship with time. You stop rushing through life trying to reach a destination. You begin to value the process because you know that growth happens in motion, not in arrival. You stop measuring your worth by how fast you progress and start appreciating the lessons each stage brings. Purpose teaches patience. It reminds you that destiny unfolds gradually. What is yours cannot be taken, only delayed until you are ready. This awareness brings peace because you no longer live in anxiety. You trust the timing of your life, knowing that every moment is preparing you for the next. When you live in purpose, your presence changes the atmosphere around you. People can sense it. You radiate calm in the middle of chaos, clarity in confusion, and strength in uncertainty. You become an anchor for others, not because you have all the answers, but because you have direction. That is the quiet power of alignment. It doesn't need to be loud to be influential. People who live with purpose naturally inspire others to do the same. Their peace becomes contagious, their confidence becomes magnetic, and their actions become examples of what it looks like to live intentionally. Purpose also restores dignity. It reminds you that your life is not a mistake, that every experience has meaning, and that even your weaknesses can serve a higher plan. When you understand that you were created intentionally, you stop living apologetically. You stop shrinking to make others comfortable. You stop dimming your light to fit into spaces too small for your destiny. Living your purpose gives you permission to be your full self, bold, creative, compassionate, and strong. You stop existing in fragments and start living as a whole person. The peace that flows from purpose is not passive. It is powerful because it grounds you. It anchors your emotions and steadies your mind. When others panic, you remain centered. When others quit, you persist. When others seek validation, you move with assurance. This inner stability allows you to focus your energy on impact rather than insecurity. You become a force of calm strength in a world of constant motion. That is what makes living with purpose so transformative. It not only changes your life, it changes how your life influences others. Living your purpose also ignites your spirit. You wake up each day with excitement, not dread. You see opportunity in every obstacle, meaning in every moment, and potential in every challenge. Even the ordinary becomes extraordinary because you view life through the lens of intention. Every conversation, every task, Every decision becomes an act of purpose. You start to live deliberately instead of accidentally. You move from existence to experience, from wandering to walking in direction. The power that comes from this awareness cannot be fabricated. It is authentic and undeniable. When you finally align your life with your purpose, everything changes. Your thoughts become focused, your emotions become stable, and your spirit becomes unshakable. You no longer depend on external circumstances to define your peace, because peace has become your internal state. You no longer rely on power from positions or possessions, because power flows naturally from clarity and conviction. You start to live from within instead of being pulled by the outside world. That is the essence of freedom, the ability to be at peace regardless of situation and powerful regardless of recognition. Living your purpose is not only the key to fulfillment, it is the foundation of true peace and lasting power. The journey to discovering why you matter is a sacred path that leads you back to the truth of your existence. It begins with understanding that you were created with intention, not as an accident of time or circumstance. Every ability, passion, and experience within you carries a clue to your purpose. When you recognize that your life is a deliberate design, you stop chasing identity through achievement and start uncovering meaning through awareness. Your value is not determined by comparison or validation, but by the uniqueness of your assignment in this world. Finding your true meaning is not about becoming something new. It is about remembering who you already are. It requires silence, reflection, and courage. Silence to hear the voice within, reflection to see your life with clarity, and courage to act upon what you discover. The process is not always comfortable, but it is always transformational. It calls you to rise above fear, rejection, and self-doubt, and to embrace the responsibility of living intentionally. Each step you take toward your purpose brings you closer to the peace and power that can only be found in alignment with your true self. When you begin to live with purpose, you experience life on a deeper level. Your actions carry weight, your words carry influence, and your presence carries meaning. You no longer wake up just to survive. You wake up to contribute. You no longer chase temporary satisfaction. You pursue eternal significance. The fulfillment that flows from purpose cannot be shaken by failure or taken by others, because it is rooted in something far greater than circumstance. It is rooted in identity. The ultimate discovery is that your purpose is not only about what you do, but about who you become. It transforms your mindset, refines your character, and ignites your spirit. You realize that every moment of your life, even the painful ones, has been preparing you for impact. The peace you once sought in the world is found within, and the power you once tried to control begins to flow naturally through you. That is the secret to true meaning. To live not by accident, but by design, not by fear, but by conviction, not by imitation, but by purpose. When you understand why you matter, you unlock the reason you exist, and in doing so, you light a path for others to discover their own significance.